It's a beautiful idea. Well, we're in August, and August theme is Shapes of Oneness, and I told you I didn't have a clue what that meant. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and here we are, week 2 already. But last week we discussed round is a shape, and I talked about the uniqueness, the individuality that exists within the oneness, within the unity of all life. There is a beautiful individuality, and so this week, all for one, is the idea of the interconnectedness of that individuality of all life, the oneness that stands behind all of our differences. And it is a beautiful interconnectedness because we all share the one mind, the one life, the one energy, which is God. You know, make no mistake about it. We are interconnected. And I think the more that they do research in quantum physics, the more you see that that is the truth in us. That energy is just interconnected throughout the universe. You know, it reminded me of the poem, John Donne's poem, No Man is an Island. And, you know, this was a metaphysical teaching, and this was a gentleman who lived in the 1500s, and they knew it. You know, mystics, prophets, they knew this. They couldn't prove it. They didn't have the scientific acumen to prove it in those days, but they knew it intuitively. Knew it with that sense of the mystic. And John Donne wrote, no man is an island entire of itself, that each is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as a promontory, as well as the matter of thine own or manner of thy friends. Each man's death diminishes me, for I am involved in all of mankind. And therefore send not to know for whom thou tolls. It tolls for thee. So there is this precious, precious interconnectedness between all life. And when we awaken to the inner divinity within ourselves, we realize that the same divinity resides in each one of us, in each thing that we meet, in each physical outpicturing at the level of effect. The core concept 1 in our teaching, God is all there is. Real clear. And it's not a poetic statement. It's a statement of truth. God is all there is. God is all there is. Everything emanated from one source. Everything. When we talk about God being sentient of itself and saying, I am, and then the physical universe bursts into form. It is formed from the thing that said I am, from the same stuff of that sentient being. So this one energy is responsible for everything, for the spaces in between everything, and for the very potential of everything. That same energy, which is air, is body, is mind, is thought, is tree, is human. It's that same energy. There's no difference. Everything is energy. I love it when we introduce ourselves. You know, when we do that part in the beginning where we find somebody we don't know and we introduce ourselves. A lot of times we'll say, I see the God in you, which is that beautiful greeting, that beautiful Hindu greeting, namaste, which means the God in me or the divine in me acknowledges or greets the God in you. This was, again, that mystic sense of there's only one of us. You know, we're sharing in this energy. We're sharing in this divine life. And we are out picturing, and for all intent and purposes, we look separate and apart. But the energy that drives us, that beats our heart and breathes our breath, it's the same energy. There's only one of us. Ernest Holmes in Creative Living, he said this, we cannot only embrace ourselves, somehow our arms must find themselves around the shoulders of all humanity. We cannot worship a God who belongs to us alone. Only as we enter into a feeling of the essence that diffuses itself everywhere, then at last we can look at each other and say, I worship God in your form. There's no separation there. That is just the acknowledgement of the divinity that each and every one of us is, and the interconnectedness with all life that we share. And we can only meet God through each other. God's not going to show up. God can only show up as us. God can only be felt through us. God can only be experienced in all of the people and the places and the things that you become involved with. You are God showing up in any one of those events. You are spirit in form showing up, doing the work. And then we remember that every place is a holy place. Every encounter then becomes a holy encounter. When we see God in all things, in all places, in all events, then we come to realize heaven on earth. This is the truth of who we are. Everything becomes sacred. When we look at a world that God has created, and God has created out of itself, and that everything is an outpicturing of that one God, everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. The philosophy of ours, this idea of the eminent and transcendent spirit, is one that transforms the world. It will transform the world, and it will transform this planet. Of that I am certain. That I am certain. And people are awakening to this. You hear it more and more. People are awakening to the inclusivity of all life. They're realizing that God is too big to fit in any one religion. The one God, the one spirit that we are a part of is a part of all life everywhere, regardless of what faith tradition we practice. And then when stupid things come, like violence breaks out, or hatred, or homophobia, or illusions of separation, you know, I see those as the last gasps of a dying paradigm. You know, and we will, believe me, we will drag those people along, kicking and screaming, but we will wind up transforming the planet. Because this is too big of a truth. It must evolve everyone. It must evolve everyone. The breakdown of the false belief of separation is happening. The breakdown of the false belief of separation is dissolving back into the nothingness from which it came. And the truth, the truth of the interconnectedness of all life will be the truth that remains. That truth is eternal. That's the truth all the mystics and the sages knew forever. It's not going to go away. It's only going to grow. It's only going to grow as we evolve. You know, last week, when Wade Michael Page walked into that Sikh temple and shot those people, he was controlled by his fear. He was ruled by his hatred. And he was acting out of a false belief that the other, whoever other is, but other is responsible for his misery. That is the illusion of separation. There is a dying belief out there. There is a dying false belief out there that somebody else is responsible for my life. Somebody else's fault that I'm not happy, or I don't have enough, or I'm not employed. That it's somebody else's fault because I'm not living the life I want. And that false belief is what's responsible for the violence, for the illusion of separation, for the bloodshed. And that false belief is a victim mentality, and it has to go away.
Yes. Amen.
Ernest Holmes wrote this when he wrote Oneness. He said, "There is one spirit incarnated in everyone, an immortal presence forever expanding, causing things to grow. What a difference it would make in our human relations if we tried to sense the meaning of this divine incarnation in all people and adjust our viewpoint to the truth that all are bound together in a unity of God. While we may think otherwise, behind all this vast array of life, there can be only one common cause, one universal mind, one infinite spirit flowing into and through and becoming everything." And that's an eternal truth. And it doesn't matter what faith tradition you belong to, and it doesn't matter what religion you practice, there is an underlying truth that God is all there is. That there is God. That there is whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to define it as. There is this ineffable spirit. It is what animates all of life. You know, the Sikh philosophy, I was reading a little bit about it. The word itself means disciple or seeker of truth. And it was founded in the, I believe, in the late 1400s by Guru Nanak. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he taught there was only one universal creator in us all and in all things around us. Sound familiar? He brought a message of love and equality. And the Sikh faith preaches three things. Always remember the Creator God. Always live an honest life and earn a just living. And always share your blessings with those less fortunate. That's it. Sounds like New Thought to me. Sounds like universal principles. You know, now some have said that the shooter walked into that temple thinking that they were Muslim. The turbans, maybe the clothing, I don't know. As if that would make a difference. Why are they saying that on the news? Why are they even saying that? Like it would have been okay if they were Muslim? Good God, you know, I didn't think about it. Let me be really, really clear here. It's not okay to kill people. We point to the other as the source of our problems. Always. It is an old thing to do. But if it weren't for them, we'd be happy. And have you noticed, as big and inclusive as we get as a people, there's always an other. There's always an other someplace. We get bigger and bigger and bigger, and our bubble, our little circle, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But outside that circle of our own comfort, there is always that other that stands outside. When we're babies, we don't even realize that we're separated from our moms. But then we realize we are at some point, and they're the other. Mom is the other, right? As children, we realize we're in a family, and that family is inside our bubble, but anybody outside that is the other. And then we get a little older, and we realize we have an extended family. We have an extended family of aunts and uncles and cousins, and that's wonderful. And then everybody outside that is other. And then we go to school, and we have neighbors. We have classmates, we have towns, but everybody outside that is other. As big as our circle gets, outside of that is other. We become nationalistic. Our bubble can get as big as the whole country, but then outside of that, they're other. People who don't look like us or speak the same language, they're other. You know, I always had this thought. We would band together as one human race, as one people, as soon as we find extraterrestrial life. Because then they'd be the other. And there would be peace on earth, you know? But it doesn't solve that initial challenge that we always have as big as our circle gets. Outside of that circle, we still identify the other. And we have to evolve past that. We have to evolve past the idea that outside of our circle, there's danger. That's where the danger lives. This is an old feeling. This comes right out of our ancient fear of sitting around the fire as a prehistoric people. Because outside of the light, there's where the danger lies. In the darkness, there's where the monsters are. And that's an ancient fear. It comes from the reptilian brain. That outside of what we can see, in the darkness, that's where the danger lurks. It is a leftover primitive thought. And we are better than our lowest thought. We have evolved beyond that, and we must evolve beyond our impulses to act on that reptilian brain thought, that idea of other. We have to be greater than our lowest thoughts. We are all in this together. You know, all that stuff they taught you in kindergarten, it's true. You know, keep your eyes on your own paper. Play nicely with each other. Take turns. Say please and thank you. All of those things are really all true. Stop judging. Stop criticizing. Stop bullying. Stop trying to control others. Stop trying to demand others be like us. Stop trying to tell others what to do or how to live based on our own false beliefs. Because we got a million of them. I've got a ton of ways that life should be. You know, and I just need to keep them to myself. We have to awaken to that inner divinity and act on that. Act on that. Act on our highest thoughts. Let love be the first impulse. Ernest Holmes, he went on to say this. He said, perhaps I'm asleep to the greater possibility. Perhaps I am someone who is drugged and only half conscious. If I could only wake up, if I could only believe that the power which has done all of this for me might be able to do a little more. Perhaps it could do something beyond my wildest dreams. How do I know? It told Einstein how to figure out his equations. It told Emerson how to write his essays. It told Browning how to write his poems. What happened to these people? They must have believed they could do things, or they never would have attempted them. There is that within us that is greater than our belief in ourselves. You know, we're all in this together, and it's up to us to inspire each other. To live the life of spirit as us is to live that bigger life, to reach out beyond our own self-imposed limitations, and to be that bigger person. Instead of criticizing, encourage. Instead of separating, unite. Instead of fearing, love. Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind text, said, one of the first things to do is to love everybody. If you have not done this, begin to do so at once. And I love that, because it is so pure and it's so simple. And it's so hard sometimes. It's so difficult. We fall into separation like that. We can fall into separation like that. And even as we believe in our oneness, we fall into separation, because those people don't. They don't believe in our oneness. Who are they? So even in our belief of oneness, we can fall into the illusion of separation. Oh, and we have to remind ourselves and awaken all the time. It's necessary. It is necessary to be awake, because we are interdependent. We are interdependent. Like John Donne's poem, No Man's an Island. We're not separate and apart from each other. There's one energy. We're all living it. Elizabeth Warren, who's running for something somewhere, I don't know. She's running for the Senate, I think, in Massachusetts. And she gave a speech once regarding this quote-unquote illusion of the self-made man. And she said, in this country, we have a really strong identification with this idea of being a self-made man, but in actuality, no one in America is a self-made anything. That we are interdependent. That whatever we do, whatever we invent, whatever we discover, whatever we create, whatever we produce, a lot of people have been involved with it all along the way. Even if you go to the store and buy food at the grocery, you didn't grow that stuff yourself. Somebody else grew it. Somebody else harvested it. Somebody else packed it in a truck. Someone drove it to a store. All along the way, we are all involved in each other's lives. Our businesses, whatever it is we manufacture, is taken to market on roads we didn't build, someone else built. We supported it, our taxes supported it. Our homes, our businesses are protected by a police force and a fire department. It's not us, we're not out there with buckets of water. Other people are helping along the way, always. We don't pull the energy out of the ground ourselves. We don't have water wheels in our backyard. We are interdependent. We are a collective of people, all coming together, doing our own part for the health and for the success of the whole. Nobody does anything in a vacuum. There is an interdependency on all life. And here's the thing, each one of us is a necessary ingredient to this. Everyone's life enriches us. Everyone's life enriches the life of the whole. An experiment with faith, Ernest Holmes said this. He said, when you go to hear a symphony, you don't go just to see others perform, to hear a great artist sing, or to listen to a great musician play. What you really go for is to awaken something within you that corresponds to and with what they're doing. What they really do is give you back to yourself. This is an adventure in self-discovery. And this is what we do. We remind each other by our own lives, the life of spirit on earth. We walk that life of individuality and interdependency. We must be our authentic selves in the world and be that point of inspiration for others around us. We must represent the oneness of all life and the unique expression of it as us. Oh, as I look at you, I see that I am that. And as I see you, I see myself. If I am dissatisfied with life, I will look out on a world of dissatisfaction. I see things as I am, not as they are. So if I'm miserable, I'm going to look out on a miserable world. If I'm unhappy, I'm going to look out on a world filled with unhappiness. If my glass is half empty, I'm going to look out on a half-empty world. You know that thing, right? Is your glass half empty or half full? Optimist or pessimist. I say we are religious scientists. We have unlimited refills. What does it matter? If I am content within, I look out on a world of contentment. If I know my own divinity, I look out on a divine world. If I know my own potential, I look on a world filled with potential. If I am in love with my life, if I am in love with life, I look out in a world where love is happening all around me in different ways. I want to finish with this. Ernest Holmes wrote in Cosmic Light, he said, "There is a place on the side of the mountain we are all ascending, where, having gone beyond the peaks that obstructed the light for us, our ascent reaches an apex where no longer shadows are cast. This is the light that is spoken of, that light that lights everyone's path. And as you believe that you live, believe that you are that light. And as you believe in the possibility of your own soul, believe it is God. And as you believe in God, believe in yourself.